And when I talk about acceptance, I do not mean we should accept cruelty and control, regime. And when I talk about acceptance, I do not mean ignoring the wrong. I mean to accept people's choice in what they choose to label themselves as. And if we accept them, eventually they will love us for that, and they may accept us. And in this way, we can talk to them about the cruelty. I've just been having a little sneak around social media and looking at some of the current news topics, and so many people seem to be arguing about religion. It's this huge subject, this mythical thing stored in books, belief systems and patterns that goes back for centuries. And we're all arguing about religion, and I'm asking, what is religion? It's a thought process, it's a belief system, it's often instilled into groups of people from birth. And it creates fear, it creates animal cruelty, with rituals and such like. And then we have atheists who don't believe in any religions, who also seem to block out enlightenment and universal energy and such like. Not all, because I've got friends who are will call themselves an atheist, yet they are, like me, they are spiritual, connected with the universe. I remember when I was younger, it was current to support a rock band or a genre of music, and everyone would have it splattered over their t-shirts, and you had to describe to people whether you was a goth, a punk, a mod. I was always sort of experimental, and I'd swing from being a mod one night to a biker at the weekends, and I liked to see what it was like to be a part of that particular cult and not make any label for myself to say I am of this. So I'm not religious. I'm certainly not. I certainly wouldn't like to say I was an atheist, although atheist means I don't believe in God. I don't believe in religion, and I don't believe in God, but I believe that the universe is undiscovered, and beyond our immediate galaxy, there's millions of others, and it could be going on and on and on and on for billions of years ahead of us. So we can't really say we know what's out there. It would be impossible. But why? Why does this universe exist, and why does the next one exist? And why is there infinite good and repugnant evil? I've opened up to not being afraid of the darkness, and I've seen and experienced things that are difficult to describe, and to some people would be unbelievable. But I do have close friends who, like me, are enlightened and touched by a spiritual essence where we don't believe, we know there's more to nature, the elements, influence and magnetizations that go beyond physical touch and voice, feelings, being at one and connections. So I would be reluctant to say I'm an atheist. Everything to me has to be in black and white. It has to be scientifically proven, because unless we can scientifically prove every aspect of this galaxy in yonder, we have to put our trust into the fact that we don't know anything really. We don't know why we're here. We don't know what happens after we die. Yes, our bodies become disintegrated or stuck 6 foot under, but we do create an energy during our lives. We really do. And I do believe to a certain extent we reap what we sow. When when that comeuppance comes, I don't know, but there is good and bad, and they're at loggerheads with one another, and this is so evident with the way that we're treating this planet, and the effects it's having with nature, with the climate change. People saying it's global warming. Is it that, or is it nature itself retaliating because we're destroying the very essence of this beautiful place that we've been so blessed to live on? This is a beautiful planet. It doesn't take living in the countryside to realise that if you've got access to the internet, you can explore this beautiful planet, and through television, it's a great place to live, and we are so lucky to be here. But we are so also ignorant, whilst indulging in these silly human exercises of who's right and who's wrong. We could be focusing together and become more united in digging out the people who are doing some good and helping and supporting them a bit more, and highlighting the bad people in the process. And in bad, I mean people who are actively inflicting unnecessary cruelty onto others, whether they be animal, human, being wasteful with the planet. And stop the silly tickle-tackle and the stupid things that don't really matter, like how a tweet comes across, or somebody didn't say thank you when you went to the shop to get a loaf of bread. These things really will pass. What really matters now is that we throw down our weapons and make a conscious decision to accept people for what they choose to believe in, provided they're not bad or harmful. You see, with religion and dictators and segregation groups, if you take away their religion or culture, their mentality will just find something else that's bad and empowering towards the wrong kind of energy. And religion, yeah, in some aspects does control women. In turn, if you took that religion away from the men doing it, they'd find another way to sustain their power. It's just within their mentality. It's been bred into them. And it will take time to change that. And the only way we can change this step by step is by acceptance, by accepting each other for who we are and what we are, not preaching about who is right and who's wrong. And it's just so, well, sorry, I've got to say it, it's just so very childish. If you had a double-decker bus and 20 people got on that bus, a mixture of people, and all sat down and they weren't allowed to discuss their cultures or their religions. That they could discuss anything else, but they're not cultures, not their religions. You'd find that the least likely would connect. I think we need to stop labelling ourselves and putting so much pressure on one another to live up to these standards, and just live with some acceptance. You know, we're born and then we die. So accept one another, and then we can work together. And I think world peace is not all being of one religion or no religion. I think it's accepting one another, because eventually these walls and these barriers would crumble down. Because there'd be no point in being different and hanging out in different groups with different titles and having different things on our t-shirts, because we'd all be getting on well. We'd just have our different tastes. And we're entitled to have different tastes. It's like music. It's good to share. I mean, I've listened to people's tunes and it's not been my kind of thing. But after a while, I thought, yeah, this is quite good. It's just about connecting with people who are perhaps different to you and have different viewpoints and different opinions. Because extremes do reach a common ground. But it doesn't take violence and cruelty to get that common ground. It takes acceptance. And acceptance, to me, is where it all begins. Anyway, that's my little rant. I'm sure there'll be more. Thanks. The violence, the suffering. And when I talk about acceptance, I do not mean we should accept cruelty and control, regime. And when I talk about acceptance, I do not mean ignoring the wrong. I mean to accept people's choice in what they choose to label themselves as. And if we accept them, eventually they will love us for that, and they may accept us. And in this way, we can talk to them about the cruelty, the violence, the suffering,